Welcome to the Own It Show. We are here with special guest Fionn, and we are so grateful she is here all the way from England. I like to keep it global and talk to people all over the world. You know me, Heather Lee, and we're just so grateful to have you here as we talk about holistic tips today. So I will let Fionn introduce herself and tell you all about her.
Hi everyone, it's such a blessing to be on here today. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Heather. So my name's Fionn, you can call me Fee, and I was born in Wales in the UK and now I live in England, and I'm very interested in holistic health, just doing everything natural, because I know that we come from nature and all the answers are within nature, and that's what it's all about. So over the last year and a half, I've dived into learning about water, and I've become a Kangen water distributor, sharing medical grade water all over the world, and it's by this company called Enagic. So I have dived into having my own business, and it's really exciting, and I have this vision of creating a retreat center where everything's going to be holistic and people can come together and live together, and we can just have optimal health and like just a bit of everything, you know, together. Yeah, just bringing it all.
I love that, and I'm definitely going to come for a visit. Now, tell people about, for the people who are listening who may not know yet, like why this water might be so important, is you might not know what's in your tap water, and you might not know that, you know, water could actually be good or bad for you, dependent on the type of water. And in our nutrition school, this is something we dove into deeply. So I went to an alternative holistic nutrition school, and as soon as I learned about what was in the water that I was drinking and showering in, we immediately put a filter in the house. So everything, all the water that came in through the house for the toilets, the sinks, the showers, the stuff the grass gets watered with, it's all filtered and then remineralized. And I'll let Fionn go in a little bit deeper about like why and what's in your water, and then I can add my 2 cents.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
take it away.
If you want to add anything, feel free. But what I've learned is that the molecular structure of water is different and not all water is equal. So our tap water has chlorine, fluoride, rust, bacteria, sometimes pharmaceuticals, even from people like peeing out different things that they've got in their body. These things are so small, and the tap water doesn't always filter these things out. And when I learned this, I was really surprised. And you can actually go and find a report to find out what's in your local water if you're really intrigued. There are some websites out there. But that is, yeah, it's really interesting. And as well with kind of like spring water as well, there are a few natural springs in the world, but also there's some natural springs, they now have, they're not as natural as they used to be because of the pollution in the air and just the things that we're exposed to, unfortunately. So it's very interesting when you start diving into water, and just because it looks clear doesn't mean it's the same thing.
And so when I discovered this in nutrition school and I told my parents about it, my mom is very holistic, very spiritual, teaching me all the things, you know, helping me make my juice cleanse. Just amazing. We decided, well, let's have our water tested. Like, let's actually test our tap water, and let's buy bottled water and actually test the bottled water. So for all of you that are like, okay, gross, I'm not going to drink tap water, I'm going to go buy bottled water. Not always better. So what we learned was the tap water had, there's so many particles per like milliliter, and the tap water was pretty high. But the plastic in the water bottles from the plastic bottles was really high. So how how much, these new water bottles, which are great, the ones that can recycle, they're trying to save the environment, save on plastic, right? So they make these bottles thinner, and then people put them in their cars or they sit them in the sun, and all this plastic is breaking down into your water. And now you think, yay, I'm buying this amazing clean bottled water, but you're actually drinking plastic. And I like that you said look into your city and what's in your water, because each municipality is different. So when I was in school, there was a petition to reduce the fluoride and chlorine in the city of Toronto's water, and they actually ended up decreasing it. So when I would come back up to Innisfil to my parents' place and I would open the tap, it would just smell like a pool. And so I also learned that the closer you are to like the treatment plant, the more chlorine there is in your water, because there needs to be a certain amount by the time it gets to the end of the road to that last house. And we're pretty close to the treatment plant right by the lake. So they had tons of chlorine in their water. And so for those who don't have a filter yet, when you go to take a shower, let the water run first. Before you fill up your cup, let the water run first. Let the chlorine come out, and the chlorine in the shower is going to turn into a gas, and you're not now just letting it absorb through your skin, you're inhaling it. Yes. So my friends, there's so much more to water. And I will let Fiona, we're going to talk a little bit about like the actual energy of water and some studies, but that's my 2 cents on that topic, on really actually being aware about what's in your water and not just switching from tap water to plastic water bottles. We actually need to filter the water, and then people do things like reverse osmosis, but then they don't remineralize the water. So now they're all mineral deficient. They've got anxiety, they've got depression, they're losing their hair, their nails are frail and cracking. They've got cracks on their feet, they've got dark circles under their eyes, and they're like, I don't understand, but they're drinking empty water.
Yes. And there's also something called bulk water and structured water. And with plastic water bottles, we don't know how long they've been sat there on the shelf. Water is free flowing in nature, and that water bottle has been sat there, we don't know how long, and how much microplastics it's like absorbed. And I read a fact the other day that in a year, if someone like continues to drink plastic bottles, they can drink a credit card's amount worth of plastic, I believe, or something like that. And I thought, whoa, that is quite scary, really, because we can't see this. It's so small, but we can't let that deceive us. It's important to be aware of this.
And if our body is 75 to 80% water,
yeah,
and almost every single reaction in your body, including making energy, needs the oxygen molecules from the water to make ATP, to make energy. And if we're not taking in enough water or the right water, then it's just we aren't actually doing ourselves a service. So now there's more than just fearing you to be afraid of drinking your water. We want to just inspire and empower and educate you to get a filter, get a right filter. It doesn't have to be an expensive one, but we do want to talk about a special kind of water today, because water can also be therapeutic. It could be healing. And it originally, would run off a stone in the mountain that has algae, and it would pick up good bacteria and minerals, and then run into a pool of water where we would drink this water with this healthy bacteria, with the healthy minerals. And so we're not getting those minerals or that healthy bacteria, right? That's why we take probiotics to help fill our gut. And I could go on that story forever, but just so that we know that's the water we want to be drinking, and it's the water that we're not drinking. And then the amount of minerals and all the things that are in it can be at higher densities and make it even more therapeutic. And I'll let Fiona tell you about that.
There is something I really want to touch on. I'm not sure if you've heard of it before, but the Hunza people that lived in the mountain.
No, tell me more.
Okay, it's really interesting because basically there are several natural springs around the world where you can drink something called miracle water, and there are some in Mexico, France, India, Germany, China, and Pakistan. But the reason people call these springs miracle water is because thousands of people have traveled to these places and experienced positive effects. So in the 1960s, scientists traveled to these places and tested the water to see what was so special about them. And there was two things, that it was alkaline and it contained active hydrogen. So in the 1970s, Japanese scientists gathered all this information and then created the first water ionizing machine in the world. And they combined this information with a process called electrolysis, and then the machines were created called Kangen water machines. And the Hungarian Valley, where the Hunza people lived, they lived up to 120 years old, and those were the things that they had in their water. And their water would travel from the rocks, like you said, and it would have all these minerals and this cloudiness, and that's kind of like the goodness in the water. And these people had three things. They had clean water, clean soil, and clean air. And those are the three things for optimal health. And we can, we can be aware of that and try and integrate that back into our lives as much as possible, with awareness of this.
I love that. And I just want to I want to talk about the water study for a second, but tell us all the different ways that you can use the different grades of water that you guys have, so that we can stop using harsh chemicals that are causing cancer, to sanitize things and all those kind of things.
Yeah, there is about over 68 uses of the Kangen machine, and there is a setting called 2.5, which is hypochlorous acid, which occurs naturally in our gut. And this is why, bit of a side note, this is why it's not, it hasn't been patented, because the things that are occurring naturally in nature can't have a patent. And that's why a lot of companies don't promote it, because it's a natural occurring thing, so people can't profit from it. But anyway, this occurs naturally, and it's salt and distilled water, and it's mixed together, and it's what's inside bleach, and that is the disinfecting property. And you could use it as pesticide remover. People use it on farms. You can use it as bleach. You can use it as deodorant with some essential oils. You can spray it on your blemishes, on wounds, on cuts. So that is so amazing in itself. And then there's a setting called 11.5, which you can remove pesticides. And I literally put my tomatoes in there and the bowl changes color. Same with spinach, because these certain vegetables do absorb a lot of pesticides. And a really cool thing to look into is the clean 15 and the dirty dozen, which is the vegetables that are best to buy non-organic and organic. And it's really interesting because I can see the correlation when I use the 2.5, how much pesticides comes off, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I understand why now. So that is cool. And then the 6.0 is used as a facial toner, and you can use it to clean windows. You don't need a window cleaner. Other things you could do is put it in your diffuser. And there's 8.5, which I use for my dog for her water. And there's 9.0, which you use for cooking, boiling rice and pastas. And then the 9.5 is the hydrogen rich water to drink with. And we've got the 7, which is the clean water to have medications with.
Love that. And There's so many things I want to say. There's so much to talk about water, but let's come to the study of it. And when I was younger, so my sister is 3 years older than me, so I'd probably be about 9. My sister was 12. My mom helped her with her, I don't know if you guys ever had those or if you remember those science fair projects. So by Mr. Moto, it is the water study, and it's proven that when the energy, right? So nothing's either created, energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred, Newton's law. So if you think of it like that, the water that would be in my bottle right now, if I speak negatively to it, the molecular components change because it's a different frequency, vibration, emotion, feeling, however you want to look at it. We're on a frequency right now, how we can talk simultaneously in England and in Canada, right? So anyways, you talk negatively and it changes the vibration, the frequency, the molecular components. Same thing if you talk positively. So we had 3 plants that sat in the pantry on the bench in front of the window, and one had a sign on it that says like, I'm ugly. One had a sign on it that says like, I'm beautiful. And then one got no attention. Always have a placebo, right? So anyways, we did the 3, and it really does work. So every day you would speak negatively to the one plant, you would speak positively to the other plant, and then not speak to the other one at all. And when you're doing that, you're changing the molecular component of the water, and it actually impacts the one plant you speak to negatively dies. The one you speak to positively flourishes, and then the one you leave alone just grows. Right? So is there anything you wanted to add in on that? I know we wanted to touch on that and talk about it, but we did it as a science fair project.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think Dr. Emoto's experiment is amazing, and it just shows the power of intention, the power of our thoughts, what we feed ourselves, because we are water. We are 99.5% molecularly water. So if that can happen to a plant, what are we doing to ourselves? And it just shows how important it is to give ourselves love and gratitude, and show gratitude. And even if you're drinking tap water right now, don't worry, it's completely okay. You're on this journey, and just starting by showing gratitude for your water and drinking it, saying thank you, is a really great step to take.
Yes, I love that. And I actually used to have a client who's a rabbi, and they say thank you before they drink every sip, every bite, right? So he must say thank you like 1,000 times a day. He's amazing. And I wanted to talk about the pesticides. I know we want to be intentional and keep it to a certain time, but there's so much on this topic that I just love. So I just want to touch on the pesticides for a second. For some people who'd be like, what do you mean pesticides? So pesticides are what they spray on foods to kill the bugs, all the things, all the stories to tell you that we need them for. Yeah. And we also know that they're chemical agents that our body does not like, and they're cancer causing agents, and they're actually quite detrimental. So we don't want to breathe them in. So, if you live on farms nearby that are using pesticides, and then they spray them on your food. And if you don't wash your food, then you're eating it. So if you don't have some kind of sanitizing water, I use apple cider vinegar. I use the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, which has the natural culture and the bacteria in it. And so that actually, I soak all my fruit in my big soaker sink with the apple cider vinegar, and you will watch the film of like wax come off your apples. It's pretty cool. So I wanted to touch on that, on the water and the pesticides. And then there was one more, but it'll come back to me.
I've got something I'd like to add. If anyone is interested, I can leave some studies around pesticides in the show notes, and people can have a little look and learn more about that, because it's a great thing to be aware of.
Topic on its own.
Yeah,
I love that. Amazing. Thank you so much. All right. So we've talked about setting the intention, right? So speak to your water, speak to your food. The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton has proven and talks about that every single thought has a physiological response in your body. So when you think you're fat, you get fat. When you think you're awesome, you get awesome. Okay. So when you talk to your water, the same thing happens. And guess what? This show is about making the uncommon knowledge common. So if you're like, what the heck is she talking about? These studies were done in the 60s.
These people know.
You got to catch up. We want to bring you up to speed, and we can't calibrate down to you. We ask you to calibrate up to the people who are rising and sharing the consciousness and the knowledge that is going to not only save you, help you function optimally. And there's tons of different filters. I understand that, you know, everyone's got their favorite, but this is a little different. It's not just a water filter. So that's why I wanted to have Fiona on today to speak about it, because it is a way that people are healing from diseases and all the things. You know, they talk about that. But
I was just pointing because my hand was literally covered in eczema before I started drinking this water for over 4 years, and I used to use creams, but that was only like brushing the surface because it comes from within, and the root cause of inflammation and stress is I've mixed it up now.
That's okay, but it's the root cause is actually your gut health. Right. Yes. And then it causes that psoriasis, inflammation, and all those things. And so we can put all the things on the cream on, but it's surface. You're not actually getting to that root cause. Right. That's why I love holistic nutrition, because we don't band-aid fix. We don't just give you a bunch of medication to mask your symptoms. We figure out the root cause and we fix it. And that's it. Your microbiome completely off. Right? You're drinking water that's literally killing your healthy bacteria in your body. And so you're like sterilizing your insides.
Absolutely. A really amazing thing is the oxidation reduction potential, which is something I know we've gone over, but we could dive into another time. But that is very interesting if you want to look into how oxidating your water is, or antioxidizing different substances are.
I love that. Yeah. And the alkalinity, right? We talked about the alkalinity as well. So guys, there's so much we don't know that we don't know. So we ask that you have an open mind. You do your research. Ask us questions if you have any questions. And we ask that you really try to put yourself first. And that means supporting yourself. And that means starting with things that are simple, even like drinking your water. Is there anything else that you would like to add to today's show?
Yes, I'd just like to give a little tip for someone who might be new to thinking about water. And if they are drinking tap water, one little thing you could do is add a slice of lemon into your water, because chlorine gets absorbed very easily by our largest organ, the skin, but also fruits and vegetables. So the chlorine would automatically absorb into the lemon, and then it removes it out of your water. And that's just a simple thing. And the properties in lemon is very good. So they work very well together. And that's just a little takeaway.
Yeah, so it's going to pull the chlorine out, and lemon is alkalizing in the body. And last tip. So why do we get disease and all these things? What about the big C word, right? Cancer that people fear so much. A lot of it has to do with the fact that our body's not alkaline. So everybody has those cells in your body, and they only start to kick in when they're anaerobic is required. So your current cells are too much in an acidic state in your body. And so they can't replicate. So your body kicks in the C cells so that they can replicate in an anaerobic and non-oxygenated environment, and they take over. So you want to heal from the inside out. We have smart bodies that can heal ourselves. When you cut yourself, you heal yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So you really want to just really mind that we can heal from the inside out, and we are in control of what that looks like. And we know, I know that you know how to heal yourself. So mind your mind, right? We wanted to talk, we'll have to come back for another time and talk about the energy component of it.
Yeah.
But mind your mind and just really see yourself already healthy, but then do the physical side and do things like keeping your body alkaline, and maybe get an alkaline food chart. Maybe I'll share that, and you can see the alkaline foods, right? And you were talking about that certain level of water, which is the pH balance. The alkalinity of your skin is different than the alkalinity of the inside. So you can actually change that in your water. So anyways, you guys, you can heal yourselves. Water can help.
Yeah.
Choose this right water and just get started from wherever you are now. You don't have to go put a whole system in the house. You don't have to get this system. You can start with a little filter. You could put the lemon in the water, all the things. You can start eating more alkaline foods. You can set your intentions. You can give your water loving words. You can say thank you before you take every bite. You can do all the things. But then if you're really looking to get that, incredible grade water, then go ahead and reach out to Fionn, and I will let her close it up and tell you where you can find her.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So you can find me at on my Instagram, Fee_magic_is_in_you, and I will send my Facebook group in the link, and you can also book a call with me for 15 to 30 minutes, and we can chat about where you're at and how to get involved with this amazing business opportunity. Or if you simply want to learn a bit more about water, I'm more than happy to share any articles and videos and just chat to you about any questions, because this is my passion. I want to help you guys. I have found what lights me up, and I hope you can find what lights you up too if you haven't already.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and energy today. And thank you for all our listeners. Remember, we get what we expect. So expect magic and miracles.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.